All lowercase. Yes. Yeah, just when she comes back.
How you doing? You're welcome.
Good, how you doing?
Right. That'll actually work because that'll let
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're going to go ahead and get this meeting called to order. If you will, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We start each of our meetings with a reading of our mission and vision statements. Jack, can you take this tonight?
High Points Academy's mission is cultivating lifelong learners in a student-centered environment. High Point Academy's vision is to be an exemplary school of choice for academically minded families.
Thank you, Jack. And Kyle's going to read our 3 R's.
We practice the 3 R's, rights, the right to a quality education, the right to a safe environment, the right to reach my potential. Respect, I will respect my classmates, I will respect my teachers, I will respect myself. Responsibility, I am responsible for my education, I am responsible for my actions, I am responsible for my opportunities.
Thank you, Kyle. And Tika's going to lead us in invocation.
Please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Amen.
Our first order of business is to approve our meeting agenda for today, September 25th. There is one note that needs to change. We need to have some further discussion with legal counsel regarding the charter renewal resolution, so that will not be discussed this evening. So that needs to be removed from our agenda. Is there any questions or comments regarding that or any other amendments to the agenda for tonight? Okay, is there a motion to approve the amended agenda? Thanks, Anne. Kyle and Anne Marie. Thank you. All right. Student spotlight for tonight. Oh, yes, we'll vote on the agenda. Thank you, I appreciate it. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, appreciate that. All right. Our student spotlight.
Student spotlight, who's up first? Mr. Mahaffey, going in reverse today.
Reverse it on, very good. I'm really proud to be able to recognize students who who have achieved on a high level academically, our leaders in our schools. So the people that I recognize tonight are our leadership for our Beta Club. When I call your name, if you would, please come up and receive your award. Elena Justice. Elena is the president of our Beta Club. Bryce Thomas. Bryce is our vice president. Elizabeth Lizzie. She is our secretary. Angelina Demitovich. Angelina is our treasurer. Gianna Shermer. Gianna is our historian. Freya Batten. Freya is our reporter. Very proud of these young people as they provide leadership in our school, as they help others. Thank you so much.
Mr. Hammond. No matter what order we're doing, I'll always be with you.
I'm honored tonight to present to you our flag detail. We noticed that we didn't have the flag up the first few days, and we made an exception of that because we didn't have anybody to put it up. So I made the suggestion that I'd like to have some students put it up. So Miss Martha Christopher is not able to be here tonight, took this on for the middle school, for the entire school. These students were chosen by the 8th grade. They also, some of them volunteered. But it's been a great group of kids to put our flag up every day. They know that when it's raining, they're going out there to get it. When it's, they know when to put it up half-staff. They know how to do it. We have one student, Ms. Smith, who has already previously done it for another school, and she taught everybody a lot of things to do. So I'd like to recognize these students today. Ms. Lillian Busby, and I don't think they're all able to be here today because they've had some other assignments to do. Ms. Lillian Busby is first. Taylor Creel. Dawson Hines. Mr. Andrew Howell. Hayden Kaiser. Colin McCamey. There he is. Miss Cheyenne Smith. And Mr. Robert West. I don't believe I saw him. He's not here. All right, we'll give these certificates to them tomorrow. Thank you.
I'll tell a quick story about the student before I follow him up. Last year, I was walking through the hallway, and a student came up to me and said, "Mr. Lancaster, can we get a hot chocolate stand in the cafeteria?" And I thought he was joking, so I said, "Cooper, if you can find a way to do it, sure, we will do it." He shows up the next day with a crock pot of hot water and hot chocolate mix, and proceeds to start selling hot chocolate in Carline, and then took all the money and donated it to one of our fundraisers that we were doing. So, very thoughtful young man, but the reason we're going to recognize him tonight is he got a perfect score on the SC Ready math test at the end of the year last year. So on state testing for math, he got every single question correct, did not miss a single one. So Cooper Wilson. I apologize, we don't have a certificate. We just found this out a couple days ago, but we will get that printed and Ms. Finley will get it to you. So good job, young man. Cooper's also been invited to our sponsor district office in Columbia to be recognized in October as well. And even though it is student spotlight, I will say his teacher, Miss Ritter, this is the second student that she has had in 2 years to score perfect. So good job, Miss Ritter, as well.
That is great. Congratulations, students, and thank you parents and families for being here tonight. I'm really proud of all of these kids and how they lead the school, and all of their activities and what they do. Really proud of them and thankful for our families for being here tonight. If you all are welcome to stay, this is a public meeting. We have some wonderful things to discuss. However, if you would like to go ahead and head on out for the evening, now's your time too.
You can use
I saw it. All right, so for Miss Wright to actually able to participate in all of our activities tonight, we're going to swear her in as our newly appointed board member. Mary Allison is going to administer your oath.
So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the duties of office
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been appointed,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve, protect, and defend
and preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and the United States.
and the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Okay.
You as board member.
Very glad to have you. A few updates for our board members, just to let everyone know, Ms. Wright, you have with you your confidentiality agreement, conflict of interest, and annual disclosure statement. We will all fill those out once a year. Once you finish with that tonight, just give it to Ms. Tika as our secretary. As well, I'm not sure if Kyle or Jack, every board member goes through a background check. I'm not sure if y'all's has been administered yet, so we will follow up on that, but just to give you a heads up that that will be being taken care of. And for our other board members, we're also gonna ask that hours are reviewed to make sure they are up to date as well. Just so that you know that we'll be doing that for everyone. Election update. The application process closed on Friday. We had 9 applications for the open board position. Those will be posted tomorrow and voting will begin on October 3rd. So, looking forward to that. Newly elected person will have to join us next month. Moving on, we have our minutes from August 28th of our board meeting to be approved. Y'all, did you receive a copy of that in your folder? Is there any questions, comments, or approval of those? I do have a couple. Under the financial report section, it's the June 23 financial report. The first one says June, the second one says July. And then there was 2 areas where G. Parker was noted as calling for or making a motion, and it was actually Matt who made those motions for the Camp Leopold trip and going into executive session. That was it. So update those. Anything else from anyone else? All right, is there a motion to approve the amended minutes? All at once? Thank you, Jack. And a second? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passed. Thank you. Do you have the link for Maria? We're gonna go over our July and August financial report. David could not be here tonight, so his colleague Maria is gonna be joining us to go over.
Would you like to come sit here so that in case someone has a question, so that I'm not looking at my face? Right, should we not be going?
It's a blue.
There's no, I got no fingers on the card. Sometimes we just see, because sometimes it doesn't like it when I've got plugged into the cord.
Does it cycle off and cycle on?
It's frustrating.
Just have school newspaper.
Why do you tell you? Any other thoughts?
Well,
You can try every yearbook, join all the other items to see if that's
Okay, yeah.
anything different.
They'll do the rest of the yearbook.
That's we need to class.
Which one of the teachers can teach both.
And like an electronic email that goes out weekly. We kind of get you on it. Well, it's just kind of things going on, you know, so.
So David, he's looking out at this again.
Tell you what, can you, we'll go ahead and go on.
Okay.
Look at that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on for now. I'll leave that stuff.
If we wanted to call her and call for the Zoom call. So we just open up her thing. Let her call.
Do you have her number?
Those gives me the Zoom and her call. I didn't, he didn't copy me on it. Of course, my battery's low. I'm gonna have to,
Hold for technical difficulties.
I think we got it now.
I did.
Can you hear us?
I can you hear me?
We can. In a minute, we might hear you a little louder. Yep, there we go. All right.
You ready for me to go, or?
Yeah, just so we know. Yes, we're ready.
Yep, are you ready?
Okay, do I need to share my screen, or does everyone have a copy of the final?
I'll share your screen.
If you share it, that'd be great.
All right, 1 second. All right, let me know if you can see those, okay?
Yes.
We can see it, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so to get started, we'll take a brief look at the July financials. Your July net income was $666,687. This is largely due to your July payroll being accrued back to June. Your teachers who start in August have their expenses allocated from August to July 31st for the prior fiscal year, which sometimes causes this variance. And then just slowly scroll through here. There are no other income statement items on the July financials that feel particularly out of place. So I'll move on to August so we have a more updated picture. Okay, your operating cash is at 3.7 million. This is a very healthy balance, which compared to your daily operating expense through 2 months equates to a daily cash burn of about 35,000. And this means every day you spend 35,000 on expenses. So your current day's cash on hand is 107 based on those numbers, which means you could operate for 107 days or 3.5 months with zero revenue inflow. And of course, that won't happen as you receive your monthly deposit from the state each month based off your student counts. So you are in a very healthy spot. And the bond covenant requires 60 days cash on hand as of 6/30/24, which is the same as the district requirement. So you're in a good spot there as well, especially given that the bottom line of 440,000, which is reflected here. I'm sorry, that was in June. I'm sorry. And this budget is off of 1,280 students. And the 5-day count came in at 1,288, so this is good. However, High Point has normally experienced attrition in student count throughout the school year. Nothing to make a decision on today, but that is definitely something to monitor for the future. Your bottom line is at 60,334 operating gain as of August 31st, and the percent you want to see is around a 16 that is used, but is also normally higher than average at the beginning of the year, given the front loading of expenses in July and August. Also at this point in the year, the school is expected to front load expenses and incur revenue later through federal and state reimbursements. And thus far, there have been no large claims as the claims have not yet been approved. So we don't see much for that yet. But that is all that I have tonight. Is kind of brief and short, but does anybody have any questions that I can try to answer for you?
Thank you, Maria, for sharing that. As she asked, does anybody have any thoughts or questions regarding our July and August financials?
The formatting for these reports looks a little different than usual. The school's in transition and moving over to Smart Fusion, so you'll see, us, I guess over the next month or two, get back to what we're accustomed to seeing, but this is getting the information to us in a good format for now, so.
All right. No questions for Maria? All right. Thank you very much. Anything else? All right. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. All right. We're going to continue. We have several things to go over regarding a few policy adoptions. We have a testing policy that I'm sure Mr. Sherwood, Ms. Bedford can elaborate and explain a little bit better.
You want to tell them what's happened?
Well, we were discharged by our district, the district office in Columbia, that every school, like the district, each district is supposed to have a test policy, but they're saying that we are, as a school, supposed to have our own test policy and procedures that is board approved. And so they charge, our district office charged the school test coordinators, which is me, with drafting one for our school based off of the legislation as well as the directions that are in our TAMS, which is the Test Administration Manual, that the state issues us every year for each state mandated test. So that would be all of like the SC Readies, our EOCs, we have COGAP coming up, there's several that we take throughout the year. And so these policies they're the same for all of these tests, these are state mandated tests. And so I, with the help of Mary Allison, we drafted one based off of the state, TAM. So, which is all, when we administer a test, we follow those procedures, so it is very much what we do with every testing situation.
Right, and these are things that you guys are already
Yes.
doing. You just
Yes.
put it in a policy form.
Most,
And they asked
we
us to
should
be
have
board
them, we
approved.
don't know where it's at, so
Yeah.
we had to create.
Yeah. All right. Is there any questions for Ms. Medford? Or Mr. Sherman regarding that? All right, so as she stated, this does need to be board approved, so it can be provided to the district. Is there a motion to approve the test security policy and procedures?
So moved.
Thank you, Kyle. Is there a second?
A second.
Thanks, Emily. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you all for that. The next one is the employee handbook. We're updating the section in the field trips based on our, discussion last month about state playoffs, falling under the field trip component, but not having that 4-month, lead time. So we've, edited or amended the section of the employee handbook that, where it states for the 4-month notice with the exclusion of playoffs, to allow them not to require the 4-month, time notification.
We appreciate that. And this is because the high school league has moved all of the upper state and championship games down to the Florence Civic Center. So if our volleyball team plays in the championship for upper state, we won't find out till maybe Tuesday night, and then we'll have to play Friday or Saturday. So there's no way we could, and it's almost impossible to take a group of kids from here to there and play a 12 or 1 o'clock game. That would just be ridiculous.
All right, so that is the only, change in the employee handbook that, we need to approve tonight. It's just that part of it. Is there a motion to update the 23-24 employee handbook? Thanks, Jack. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Kyle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, to go along with that, our field trip, our overnight field trip policy that the board approved, I think we did this last year. To amend the verbiage in it as well to align with the employee handbook. So the changes in the overnight field trip policy is to include where the principal will present to the superintendent at least 4 months prior to proposed field trip with the exception of sports playoffs, or 9 months for an out-of-country trip. So we're basically just aligning our overnight field trip with the same policy and the same procedures as the employee handbook. Is there any questions about that alignment, the amendment of our overnight field trip policy? Okay, do you have a motion to approve our overnight field trip, amend overnight field trip policy?
So moved.
Thanks, Kyle. Is there a second? Second. Thanks, Debbie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Moving right along. Sorry, we've got a lot of business that we're staying to do tonight. Our bylaws amendment, last month we reviewed this. That was provided, and then it was, posted on our website for public, review. And to my knowledge, we didn't receive any remarks regarding it. So, we need to vote on amending our bylaws as presented. Any thoughts, questions about them? The only suggestion I have is what we had talked about was, the section where it listed out, I believe it was the duties of the board, and it's bulleted. Where was it?
Hours and duties, 3.1.
Yes, yes, 3.1. to take the suggestion from legal counsel to make it more concise in a paragraph form. Basically takes those duties that are listed there and just creates it in a paragraph. So it aligns with the other sections of the bylaws instead of being detailed out like it is with all those bullet points. That's the only suggestion I have. Does anyone want to discuss that further or add that to approve the bylaws as amended, section 3.1 to a paragraph?
So moved.
Thank you, Kyle. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Marie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right,
Was it me?
got through all of the
Boring
legal,
stuff.
legal stuff. Yes,
It's important.
it is important. Thank you.
All right, we have a short report today. We'll start with our quote. Board members remember this, we'll talk about this in a minute. But that's our quote for this month. Go ahead, Katie. Thank you, ma'am. Let's go to test scores. Shelley, test scores.
Well, as you can see, it's still embargoed. I asked our, John Payne with our district office, specifically in a Zoom call we were on, I guess last week sometime, if, when he thinks the embargo will be lifted, and he's thinking probably October, or like around, it's gonna be about the same time the report
I
card.
think
is.
October 10th is what.
I think
what
that's
came
it,
out.
October 10th. So I should have something I can share with you publicly at the next board meeting.
Tomorrow night, board, we have a parent night here at the school. All of our teachers are going to attend unless they've got out because they have a reason, and then they'll get a trade-off day in February for coming tomorrow night. Gray has secured food trucks and bouncy houses, so if you want to come play in the bouncy house and eat off the food truck, I would pay to see somebody be in there, but we'll see what happens. It'll be a good fundraiser. Our guest speaker tonight actually started our school year off. His name is Jeremy Boone. He runs a company out of Charlotte called Athlete by Design. We got a small, quick quote for you.
Already to man up, that you recognize that there's an incredible opportunity to have greater impact in your family, at work, and in our communities, especially to fathers. But that's not going to happen. The mission is not going to get accomplished if you're chasing confidence as a leader. Instead, you got to lead with courage. And so before I jump into today's message with you, I want to talk a little bit about this idea around growth. You see, growth doesn't rely on motivation. It can't. And whether it's this message here, whether it's the message of any speakers that you're going to hear and learn from in Man Up, they're going to get you excited, going to get you jacked up, feeling charged. That's just a feeling. It's kind of like a good sermon that you hear on Sunday, but you forget it by Wednesday. But you do remember, wow, that preacher made me feel alive. But that doesn't actually mean that you've grown. You see, growth doesn't rely just on motivation. Growth requires truth, trust, and self-discipline. Truth, trust, and self-discipline. All.
So that's just a quick snippet. You can go online and view Jeremy Boone. He works with professional athletes and companies all over the United States. He works overseas. He's worked with 50 Olympians. He's worked with the Clemson basketball program. And ever since he's been working with them, they've been in the playoffs. So he does quite a bit of stuff. So he's here tomorrow night. If you'd like to come hear him, I would encourage you to come out to Parent Night tomorrow night and listen to him. We also, we are doing I think Friday we sent it to our teachers, and we're going to do it to our parents. Just an opportunity for them to tell us what they think our needs are, what we need to focus on. We sent it to the teachers. Did it go out on Friday, Katie, to the teachers? And then tomorrow night, we will be doing this as well for our community to see if they can help tell us what they see would be needs that we need to fix and what we need to do. So that'll be tomorrow night. I hope you can come and listen to Jeremy Boone at 6:45. He will do a fantastic job. HVAC update, Mike Eden.
HVAC update. We have on our roofing, especially on the high school side where we're having the biggest issues, we have had 3 companies come out to give us a quote for a fluke filled repair system. It's a system that'll come in and basically it's the best system you can do without replacing the roof. It'll come in and fill the roof on the transitions. It repairs the transition walls and it lays the membrane down on top of that. It's a rolled roofing system. We have these 3 quotes in. Do you want those?
No, we'll do that later.
So they've come in and looked at that and addressed that. And we have this solution for our high school side especially. And all of these quotes do take care of some of these other places that we have. But if we take care of our high school side, that takes care of almost everything that we have, with the exception of what you over here. But those will be addressed as well.
What about our HVAC?
Our HVAC, oh, I'm sorry. That was rude. Oh, I'm sorry. HVAC systems. Okay, I got too much on my plate. HVAC system, they are here this week. They will finish up next week. Everything will be online. We have, right now, we have the capability to control about 60% of our school right here on this computer. By the time he finishes up next week, we'll be able to go through and control everything, which allows us to put them on program systems, allows us to turn those off and on when we're occupied and unoccupied. They should have that finished up by the end of next week.
So we're expecting, one of the problems we have is people go to the thermostat and they turn it up or down and they're well-meaning people, they just forget they did it. And so if you do it on a Friday and it stays hot or cold for 3 days, it has a drastic effect on our power bill. So this will give us the opportunity, if anybody needs an event after school, they fill out a form, and in that form it says, do you need air conditioning and heat and all that? And so people fill that out. So people can still have all those services when we're not here. We just need to know ahead of time so we can program it in to try to save some money in areas that we've lost quite a bit of money over the last several years. So, thank you, Mike. Important dates. Katie will send all this to the board members. This is what's going on in November and December. This is basically all of our holiday musicals and all the things that we do. We also have a basketball jamboree. It's a preseason tournament. Everybody comes in and plays a half. We had a great turnout last year, quite a good big fundraiser for us, and we're doing it again this year. And then our musical performances by both high school and middle school on those dates. And then we have a first and second grade holiday show as well. So get these dates down. We'll be sending them back out to you. Good opportunity for you to come, invite a friend so they can see what an incredible job our arts department is doing. And last but not least, Tucker Hamrick, our safety officer, go over a few updates for us.
Some updates that we have this year, and one of the biggest things that I always preface this with is that education is actually not the number one word in education. It's called safety, because you can't educate if you're not safe. So we really stress the importance of safety. Drills, we have already done a couple of fire drills. Some things that we're doing different this year is we are not just drilling for the sake of drilling. We are actually, on the last one, we actually threw a little kink in the system to the high school and everyone. We did a unannounced fire drill. You could actually see people coming out saying, is there really a drill or is there really a fire? And we also threw a kink in the high school and we put two poster board fires where they could not leave the exits where they were supposed to go. But the high school did a very fantastic job of rerouting those students. 2 of our first year teachers actually rerouted them to the place where they need to go. So it worked out very well. We're going to continue to do those kind of things throughout the year with our drills because we don't want it to be rote memorization. We want it to be where they react. Reunification drill, we're going to have one. It's actually October 16th, I believe it is. That's our teacher work day. we're going to do a school-wide reunification drill. You are invited to attend or to participate, if you would like to. If you would like to come to that, please let me know. I will give you all the information for that. We have a lot of new staff, so we wanted to go through that again for our reunification drill, in the event that something happened where we would have to reunify off campus. And then bomb threats is the end, because that's something that people don't really think about a lot nowadays. But it's something that is very important. So I just wanted to throw that in there. We have a team that is actually going to threat assess the school. If this were to happen, we have everything in place for this. It's still a lot of our general ways that we will do things with our lockdown procedures and those kind of things. But we have actually developed a team that will go through and assess the situation throughout the school and see what we need to do. So that's just one of those things that's in the forefront of our minds right now, as we go through safety.
There was over 200 bomb threats at schools in the spring last year in the state of South Carolina. It's something that's out of control. People have learned how to do it with computers and cell phones, and some of them have eluded detection. So they're going to continue to do that until they're caught. It's a problem we're having, courthouses are having, and a lot of government institutions are having this problem. We're really cracking down on that this year. Tucker and our resource officer have given forms to the ladies up front who take the calls. The sheriff's department has given us forms, so they have direct questions they ask. Their job is to keep them on the phone, keep them talking, find out as much information as we can. And then we take that form and we look at it and we determine, how credible is this? At Hillcrest High School in Greenville last year, they were just throwing things on the floor saying, well, the bomb's gonna go off in the bathroom, and people pick it up. So they stopped going outside every time, and they developed a program, and Tucker has done that for us this year. We have protocols in place for what we did. So just a safety update, always improving, because it's a moving target. Because every year somebody comes up with something crazy and new that we have to prepare for. And we're never going to reach it because it's always going to change. So that is the end of my report.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for anyone, or anything regarding that? Thank you guys for all your work, and getting that stuff done. All right. We have, overnight field trip approval. In light of the conversation regarding playoffs, to be prepared for that, which we, are excited that we're even considering that might be a hope for us.
We got a shot.
I know, it's great. Because we have, allowed playoffs to be able to go on the overnight field trips without that 4-month, notification. The other parts of the policy are still in place, where the principal, superintendent, and board have to approve that overnight stay. It just means for playoffs, it can be done within 4 months. That means, as Mr. Sherman said, if they announce on Tuesday, they get to go overnight on Friday, it has to go through principal, superintendent, and board for the approval. So that would mean we would have to convene quickly to approve that overnight stay for playoffs. We can do that, or we can, for playoffs only, let Mr. Sherman make that final call. Kind of take our approval off the table and allow him to make that call. And that can be done in the day. The principal can approve and superintendent can approve, and they can go ahead and get information out to parents and stuff immediately.
We'll still inform Jenna Jo.
Correct. We'll still inform. They would just kind of waive our approval on playoffs. Is that something you want to consider, or?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I assume that policy is in place. Is that a state requirement, or is just something we had
The overnight field trip policy?
for 4 months? Is that?
That is our policy.
That's
That's our
ours,
policy,
yeah.
and that's, is that limit liability or lack of planning? I guess, what was the purpose?
Well, right now in the current condition of our world, we don't want kids going somewhere that could be a problem without the board knowing. Right now, I would not approve a trip to Washington DC or New York simply because of the problems that they're having. But I think the board has a right to know ahead of time where kids are going, because ultimately that responsibility falls on me and the board if we allow that trip. So I don't want to stop them from going, but I do want to make sure we make reasonable decisions with the lives of the students that we deal with.
That answers my question.
Any questions about overnight field trip for playoff?
Do you need a motion or amendment?
Well, do we want to relinquish, this is discussion to decide if we want to relinquish our approval for playoffs? Or do we want to keep it? It would just mean that we would have to meet, quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, make the decision, make the call on, okay.
You'll still be informed.
Correct, correct, yes. All right, I think that would be the wisest, easiest decision, I think, for our athletic teams and our parents as well, to quickly get that approved and in motion for our families to get that taken care of, as well as your teachers. All right, so then, yes, we do need a motion to waive the board approval for playoff overnight field trips.
I think it's just, I think it's just a motion to approve the policy as presented, is that?
Well, we've already approved the policy.
And you've, so I don't think you need to take any further action.
Okay.
I already approved the policy, we've changed the handbooks, I think we're good. Unless you,
I just need for like when they go to playoffs, they would still require board approval, and we're saying for playoffs, they don't need board approval.
okay, this is that, with the, maybe I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm missing, but does the policy, I think, sort of accomplishes?
Well, my understanding was that the policy only waived the 4 month for playoffs.
It does, and you certainly could take a motion to waive it and have, Mr. Shortman. If that, I think that's fine. Yep.
Okay. So you can make that motion? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kyle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And
We have another field trip.
fingers crossed, we go to playoffs.
Let's hope so. We got a shot in a couple sports,
It's
so
gonna happen.
we have another field trip approved.
Yes.
So I've got two, for two different teams for Christmas time, or just after Christmas time. The first one is for wrestling, who consistently will be going to the playoffs, and this is called the Bearcat Wrestling. It's an invitational that happens in Rock Hill. The big reason that they would like to go here is because the middle school team is already going in one location, and this allows both our men's and women's to compete in the same tournament at the same time. But it starts on Friday, carries into Saturday, so it is an overnight trip where that would happen. The students would only be required basically for one meal and to help pay for hotel, which wrestling has fundraising ideas for help to accomplish that and how to get there. Roughly, it would be about 15 boys and about 4 girls. They would leave Friday right after school based on when it starts, and then would come back. There's already 3 males that would be going with them for the boys. There's 1 female, Coach Mack, would be with the 4 girls, with looking at adding more additional chaperones going from there. Hotels haven't been proposed, that we haven't looked into that just because it's based off of whether they would be approved on being able to go to this tournament or not. So that process hasn't started there. The other tournament that was invited, our boys basketball team was invited to what's called the Low Country Round Ball Classic. This invitation was also extended because they know Coach Sorter, our new boys basketball coach. And not only do they want us to come compete in the showcase with some of the premier teams in the state, they've offered to pay for 6 hotel rooms for our athletes and pay for our coaches to stay in the hotel as well, along with 2 meals every day that they're there. That's during Christmas, starting on the 28th of December and goes until the 30th of December. Really, the only cost that they would be looking at right now is they're looking at their mode of transportation of how they would get down there. whether it would be parent driving. Ideally, if this would be the only thing, they've talked about possibly doing a charter bus. But again, that process hasn't started yet because wanted to make sure that the approval was happening to do. But in the contract itself that I've got and that I've shared, the tournament will pay for those hotels. So the athletes don't have to pay for anything but transportation to get down there, if that. Currently, there's at least 5 chaperones already approved. That's the basketball staff, and as that staff grows, they're looking at that possibly could be more on that. And of those 5, 4 of them are already school employees that are already in the building with that. And so again, that's from the 28th of December to the 30th of December.
So for both of those, you don't anticipate any students missing class time?
No, man. The only one that could possibly be is just the wrestling on that Friday. Weigh-ins are usually around 5 to 6 p.m. So it just, they are working on, right now that they've said they've put 2 different dates on their contract currently, so we're waiting on clarification. But we're gonna try and maximize them being in the classroom as much as possible.
They may leave at 2 o'clock.
They might leave at 2, that's probably when they're gonna leave as, they're gonna leave as close to the end of school as possible on that one. But for the basketball tournament, that's over Christmas break, that's already happening. With that, we know that parents most likely some of them may probably go, but with both of these processes, even though parents would be, the coaches would have the athletes in their own room unless that athlete is staying with their specific parent. That parent would be responsible for their own rooms, them all going on top of that. So.
But is there any questions regarding those 2?
Do we have chaperone requirements?
Yeah, they have to, anybody who's with a kid has to do a background check.
Yeah, is there like a ratio?
Yeah, it's usually 6 to 1 to 8 to 1. We'll easily be under that.
Yes.
But anyone who goes, anyone who coaches, anyone who has any individual contact directly with a kid has to go through a background.
But with both of these trips, the wrestling one, it might be 18 total athletes with 3 males and 4 female wrestlers. And then with the basketball team, it's going to be 15 boys basketball players tops. They won't take a lot. So, and there's already 5 chaperones with that. So that ratio is well under for both of those.
Any other questions or concerns regarding those 2 trips? All right, so we need to approve those separately? Okay, easiest. All right, is there a motion to approve the wrestling tournament overnight field trip? So, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Jack, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the basketball tournament overnight field trip?
So
Thanks, Kyle. Is there a second?
A second.
Ms. Emery, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Hope y'all have fun.
Thank you.
It'll be exciting.
It's going to be, and the big thing is wrestling should be making the playoffs also. So that overnight would be a nice little warm up for. They're consistently in there. The boys have a chance to go very deep as well. So these could both help prepare for the playoff policy as well. So on top of the others.
That's
Thank you.
great. Thank you. All right, Tika, are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Some more friends? Okay, we are going to motion for executive session for receipt of legal advice, any contractual documents, and for a training discussion. Is there a motion?
Make a motion?
Thanks, Tika. Is there a second?
second.
Kyle, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're on the
Yeah, thank you.
Lost them.
Good luck.